You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
88.7 FM.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
You're listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
Let's start with these Kirk Cousins rumors. I don't know how credible they are, but listen, trade talks are out there about Kirk Cousins, and now Justin Jefferson's gone on the IR for at least a month. And there is talk with the trade deadline, October 31st, that Cousins could be moved. Here he is responding to the possibility of heading to a different team.
Kirk, is there any scenario where you would waive your no-trade clause before the trade deadline?
You know, I'm just very focused on the Bears. I'm going 1-0 this week, and anything else is just not worth my time or energy or attention.
The last 2 weeks, you've had one of the best offenses in football statistically. Are you a believer that that is contagious or that builds on itself? And if so, what could that mean for Justin to just kind of continue what he's been doing the last 2 years?
Yeah, it's about consistency, right? You know, and the guys have shown that. You know, we've seen a really good trend, you know, in our practices, you know, with the connection, with the chemistry, with Justin and the receivers, with the tight ends, you know, with Cole and those guys too. And it just really is trending this way, you know, and we just feel that the consistency's got to be there now. And the guys have a lot of challenges this week, you know, with the pressure package and all those things that we're working through. And the guys know it's a 1-week league. And this is all that matters is this game right here against the Vikings.
Have you noticed a weight off your guys this week, maybe even yourself, just getting ready for this game, coming off a win, just going into this week? Has it felt different?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I would say that our step-up challenge to everybody was to have a sense of urgency to get better. And that was it on Monday. That was it after the game. It's one game, and like I said, it's a 1-week league. And it's this week is all that matters.
You mentioned the sense of urgency challenge. What does that look like to you for like players in practice or coaches to players? Like, how do you want to see that sense of urgency?
Just in the preparation, you know, the attention to detail and the preparation during the course of the week, leading up to Wednesday, and then during Wednesday, you know, during the meetings, during the walkthroughs, guys are on their details, guys are on their assignments, guys are on the precision of the execution it takes to win in this league. And then going into Thursday, third down day, and then into gold zone and on to the rest of the week. But it's really just really focusing on, you can see it in walkthroughs, you can see it, you know, in the meetings, you can see it all the way through practice. And again, like I said, we got 48 hours. We got a lot of preparing still to do, and it's a sense of urgency to do that.
Jay, when you talk about preparations, preparing for a game, when you're talking about the Bears getting ready to face the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins, a lot of questions out there, a lot of things that have been swirling around. But the last we saw of the Bears was on a Thursday night where the Bears took on the Commanders. And what we saw from that Bears team was early that they dominated the line of scrimmage. And statistically, we have a lot of numbers that back up the fact that the Bears were dominant. But here's the thing. The Bears have the most absurd stat so far this season in the NFL, is that DJ Moore accounted for 230 yards of the 282 yards of passing. So that meant that 52 yards were just distributed among 2 players throughout that roster. Jay, is this a recipe that the Bears can take through the season to win, or was this, as we talked about earlier, an anomaly when we were talking about Colorado? Was that Washington game against the Commanders, was that an anomaly we saw from the Bears, or is this the new way they're going to play to win throughout the season?
I hope y'all didn't go buy new Justin Field jerseys, because until they can do it a few more times in a row, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. They started off. What was the team before that they played? I'm drawing a blank now.
They played the Broncos.
Right. So you got the Broncos, right, who are historically bad. And you looked they played against the Commanders, who had, was he a rookie QB? I think he was a rookie QB, wasn't he?
Is he a rookie or is this his second year?
Well, he already looked. He will look like a rookie. And you had a situation where the Bulls, Bears, White Sox, Cubs, all of them, they all have moments when they look like a real franchise, when they look like they can actually play at this level. But we know this is a team who had a 14-game losing streak. If we all of a sudden think that this is just going to flip back around, all of a sudden, I think we got a rude awakening getting ready to come up against the Vikings. The Vikings aren't as bad as their record shows. And I think you have Kirk Cousins coming in, one of the top quarterbacks statistically in the league. He can spin it. We know Kirk Cousins can spin it. And he's going to spin it against the Bears. Question is now, can Justin Fields keep up pace? And we know one thing the Bears can't do is protect Justin Fields. So it's going to be interesting now when you're coming up against a defense who's going to pin the ears back, because for the Vikings, this is a winnable game, and this is the Chicago Bears.
One of the things that we saw with the Chicago Bears was that they were able to put together a line. That line has given Justin enough protection and been ranked as one of the best lines of the week and last week. The Bears have some very interesting numbers as they are muddling through this season. Jay, I'm going to give you some numbers. I'm going to throw them out here, and I want you to see how these numbers sound. 1,143 passing yards, 11 passing TDs, 5 interceptions, a 95.4 passer rating. Does that sound good so far?
Okay.
The next number is 1,287 passing yards, 10 TDs, 4 INTs, and a 96 passer rating.
Okay.
The first ratings, or the first numbers I gave you, were Justin Fields numbers.
Okay.
Up to this point, to week 5, that's where he looked, and until yesterday or till Thursday, the second set was Patrick Mahomes' numbers.
So are you saying on the sizzle, are you saying that Justin Fields is better than Patrick Mahomes right here on the sizzle? Go.
I am saying that if you're a fantasy player right now, if you've had Justin Fields the last 2 weeks, you've won your fantasy league.
So are we saying Justin Fields is better than Patrick Mahomes? Or is this what you're saying that these statistics to say right now?
I don't know what these statistics are saying.
Well, you just said them.
They're saying that Patrick Mahomes' numbers this year are down versus what we see from Justin Fields. So how do you interpret that?
You brought them up. You still haven't answered the question. Do these numbers say that Justin Fields is better than Patrick Mahomes?
By the numbers, yes.
So you're saying here on the sizzle that Justin Fields is better than Patrick Mahomes?
I'm saying by the numbers, yes.
Okay. Well, y'all heard it here first. That right now, G.SIZZLE will take Justin Fields over Patrick Mahomes.
No, I'll take Justin's numbers
over Patrick Mahomes.
I did.
For at the end of the season, too, end of the year?
Let me ask you a question. Wait a minute now. For my fantasy, because I'm going to take it for my fantasy.
Will Justin Fields have better numbers than Patrick Mahomes at the end of the year?
I don't think so. I think once we play out, because we're only, in week 6, once we get all the way to the end of the season, I don't believe that he will. But the question should be then, Jay, if Justin Fields has numbers similar to or that of Patrick Mahomes at the end of the year, what does that say?
They say that the 4th dimension has come and broken through the 5th dimension. Who cares? Look, if we compare Patrick Mahomes to Justin Fields as a quarterback, right? If we're going to compare that, we're just going to use numbers. Then who's that guy that has 7 or 8 rings in the NBA? Then he must be better than Michael Jordan. Who's that? I think that's
Robert Horry.
Robert Horry. Does he have 8, 9 rings? Mm-hmm. Something like that. So he must be better than Jordan because his numbers are better. I mean, these numbers, you can have stats say anything. The whole issue is that when you look at it, what do they pass the eye test? And right now, Justin Fields look great, but he look great against bad teams. Now let's see what he looks like against, because I know here's the fun statistical part, that Minnesota's defense has been shutting running backs down this year, right? They've been doing real well statistically against running backs, right? I think they want to say they're like 13th in the league, and the Bears don't have a running back. They don't have one. I think one's concussed, one's got the ankle. They had a fullback playing running back, and if they don't get that fixed, that means they won't have a running game. That means Justin Fields will be thrown into 6 and 7 players because they will get pressure on Justin Fields with 4 players. You think are you taking him or Patrick Mahomes to throw into those tight windows?
Well, definitely you're taking the player who has won Super Bowls, who has been one of the most consistent. But when you have those numbers and they are saying these types of, or showing these types of anomalies, the question then becomes for the Bulls.
I got
keep
you.
doing it. The Bulls, the Bears, 'cause they're all in this same
the White Sox, the
mediocrity of foolishness. So for the Bears, if you've got Justin sitting there at the end of the year, and this has been the question for all of those, we had this discussion in the barbershop.
Uh-huh.
And at the end of the year, you've got Justin with good numbers. You've got him with Patrick Mahomes' numbers, but you don't have him with Patrick Mahomes' wins. And you have the only opportunity, maybe the first and last opportunity you will have to reshape this whole Bears organization. And maybe Caleb Williams isn't that great. Maybe there will be somebody else. Maybe it's a young man from Michigan. Maybe it could be some other quarterback. How do you then get through this whole time and then make a decision with Justin at the end of the year?
Well, okay, so here's the biggest problem, right? You're going to drop this big money on Justin Fields, right? If you take a rookie quarterback, you don't have to drop that money, number one. Number two, let's take a look at it from this standpoint. Are you going to drop the money? Where you need to drop the money, as we're saying now, is the offensive line. You need to pay as much money as you can to get in the best offensive line. You need to make but the problem is that you can't really do that in the NFL. You just can't go out and just pay everybody more money and get them. It doesn't work that way. The problem with the Bears right now is that offensive line is not good. It's just not good enough to protect them. And until it becomes good enough to protect them, you're going to see some spurts like we've been seeing. But I don't believe, because the Bears have not drafted well with the offensive line, that they, what was that, Caruso from Oregon, the center that they brought in, when you're missing on people like this, when you're missing, you can't miss on these upper picks for the Bears. What was the guy that took out of HBCUs?
Carter.
Are we happy about that?
I don't know if you're happy about it. He played right and left guard for you, more of a right guard, Ja'Tyre Carter. It's been a lot of misses on that offensive line, and the sad part is you're missing on someone who was supposed to be an expert on offensive lines.
And that tells you how difficult it is to build these type of teams, these winning teams. I mean, you look at Belichick up with the Patriots right now. I mean, one of the all-time gurus ever to coaching the NFL, and you see struggling going on. Everybody talked about how good Mac Jones was supposed to be, struggling. You look at who some can't miss guys came in. The little young fella struggling. Murray struggling. Stroud. Where everybody said, well, I don't know about Stroud. Stroud's looking good. So the issue is that you have to have all the ingredients together. One thing I think that Patrick Mahomes had was because he was able to extend plays. And because he has that rocket behind him, and he had Tyreek Hill for all those years, that he was able to take the top off these defenses, and he had a weapon nobody else had. Now, pedestrian-wise, what else does he have? He has a weapon nobody else has in the tight end, right? If he doesn't have the tight end on field, all of a sudden you see Patrick Mahomes not look as formidable as before. Why? Because he has no place to go with the football. That's the biggest problem. I think with the Bears, once they figure out Justin Fields, what he likes to do tendency-wise, and from what I understand, Minnesota blitzes about 52% of the time. So he's going to have people in his face. Can he make a decision to get the ball out of his hands? and put it on somebody? That's the question, right? And if he can show you that he can do that, fine. But I think we've seen a lot of Patrick Mahomes lately, not Patrick Mahomes, but a lot of Justin Fields. And I don't know. And I'm going to tell you what, even Caleb Williams, I don't know if his game's going to actually translate. I don't know if it's going to translate because he throws with wide open players. He's moving around the pocket. Guess what you can't do in the NFL unless you have elite speed? You can't run away from these defensive ends. They're going to chase you down. All these guys are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 240 pounds, and run 4.5. They're going to chase you down, especially if you're running sideways and they're running straight. They're going to chase you down. There's none of these slow guys on the outside like you find, second-tier players that play on these Division I teams. You're not going to have guys like that. You're going to have every guy out there that can run. You're going to be playing Alabama every day, literally. You're going to be playing Georgia every day. Not even Georgia. You want Georgia on steroids. Here's the thing about it, right? I was talking to a friend of mine before. And he said, Jay, you understand what? I said, what? He said, listen, what's the worst team in the NFL right now? He said, would you put before the Bears were winning, who would you call the worst team in the NFL right now? Jaguars?
No, probably the Raiders.
You think the Raiders the worst team? Mm-hmm. All right, so you take the Raiders right now.
Raiders are the Cardinals, and I can't say the Cardinals because the Cardinals have clocked in some wins.
Take the Raiders.
Oh, I know who the worst team is right now. Carolina Panthers.
Panthers, that's all. I was trying to say Jaguars, but I went to Panthers, right? Take the Panthers right now, and let's put them against Georgia.
No, you're talking. We've always had those discussions, and we've had those discussions when we had those foolish talks about being able to outrun a bear. Could Devin Hester outrun a full bear? And you get to that point where can these college kids go up against professionals? No. They're grown men. No.
Georgia would not score. I want to say right now, unless a fluke play happens, they might not even get a first down.
Possibly. If you took right now, take Shedeur Sanders, right? Put him in the league right now. With what he has, the talent around him now. But let's give him Oregon's talent. And then take Sanders, put them in the league. Put them against a middling, put them against the Bears.
Okay. Get crushed. If any college team goes against any NFL team, is going to get crushed. Mm-hmm. But you take Shedeur Sanders and put him again behind a decent offensive line in the NFL, what do you have?
Well, now there's the big question. If you put him behind a decent line, then you've got something that is Patrick Mahomes-ish.
Absolutely.
If you put him behind the Bears line, you get Justin Fields-ish.
And this is the problem right now. Justin Fields' problem is that the Bears drafted him.
Yeah.
That he didn't go later on in the draft where he went to a decent ball club that can keep him upright and he can throw the football. Right now, Shedeur Sanders, to me, is a better NFL prospect because he's getting the ball off under duress on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. He's shown you how tough he is. Hopefully, he stays healthy. Mm-hmm. But if he gets into the league and he can sit behind there and throw in some windows, he's got a big enough arm. Now, here's the problem, though. Those windows in the NFL are not as big as the windows.
They're half windows.
Yeah, right. And so you got to anticipate these throws. I think he has a real good opportunity because why? He trains with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. That's why you see him throw the ball real well. But what did you see all of these college coordinators do real quick? You're not going to beat us like you beat TCU. Right. You're not going to throw them little wheel routes. That ain't going to happen no more. We're taking that away because guess what you don't have time to do now? Sit in the pocket.
Well, one of the things that with Justin to learn to sit in the pocket, maybe his days for training with a Tom Brady need to be coming up. Listen, if you're taking the numbers on the Bears game right now, if you're looking at the spread for the Bears, they are +3. The over-under is 43.5. Take the under, and the money line on the Bears right now is a +135.
Are they at home?
About those numbers? They're at home, Jay.
Yeah, so now it's a pick 'em. Flipping coins on this one. I just don't think the Bears are going to have any opportunity to run the football. They just don't have any, unless they pull somebody off the And I don't know if they pull somebody off the practice squad.
They are down running backs, but to their credit, the one thing the Bears can say is the Vikings give up more passing yards than they give up rushing yards. So this, as you said, a pick'em game where you look at if Justin can stay upright and they don't get a good pass rush on him for Minnesota, you could be looking at a twofer. You could be looking at a 2 in a row for the beloved, and now Justin Fields is going to the Super Bowl.
He's going to Canton.
He's going to Canton. Well, his shoes are already there, so at least he'll be there.
At least he can say that.
Yeah, that's one thing a lot of people can't say. He has something in Canton
He's
right
in
now.
Canton. I mean,
so he'll go down in the history books. Everybody will know Justin Fields' name.
I just think Justin Fields is not a bad quarterback. I don't think that at all. I think he's a bad quarterback for Chicago Bears.
I do question, one of the things you made me go back and look at some of his old footage, and I question now some of his decision making.
Yes.
And that decision making it worked in college until it didn't work, which was the national title game. Now in the professional leagues, it's not working.
And why did it not work in the national title game? Because he's playing against guys who had NFL caliber talent. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, those windows close in a hurry. Those big guys are chasing you down. I don't care how fast you are, unless you're Michael Vick-ish. You're not running away from those guys. Mm-hmm. You're just not. And it's just the Bears are, when you miss on offensive linemen, when you can't keep that offensive line core together for 4, 5, 6 years in a row, and put a guy in there every once in a while when somebody gets dinged up, but you can't start those same guys every year. It's a problem. And so now you see a running back by committee, offensive line by committee, and you have one superstar wide receiver.
And with that said, the one thing that is the one superstar we have in the building is the J.SIZZLE mix, always consistent, always there for you, always giving you the heat. So you know what this is. It's the Sizzle. We bring you the best in sports, music, and culture. We've talked about it all, and now it's time for you to enjoy the J.SIZZLE mix here on Gary's Voice of Education, WGVE 88.7 FM.
88.7 FM. The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.